Okay, once again with my iPad. Now you can see my old giant shelf, my Daredevil hat on it. Um, I wanted to go over a few things about an accident involving injury, and this is important because today I saw a guy walking down the block at work, and then a few minutes later I see him being fireman carried up the hill, presumably to the hospital, by another adult man. Now these are two adult men. You could tell visibly that no one was being kidnapped or assaulted. It was just a guy carrying a guy away. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe they're going to the hospital because the hospital is the block. And that's very common. I've seen guys get sick or drunk or whatever the problem is in the front of the block. Oh, I'll bring them to the hospital. Okay, well, you're an adult. They're an adult. They want to go to the hospital. I legally can't stop them. In fact, the opposite. If I stop them, I can get in trouble. They're not crossing the street. They don't need my assistance. They're just walking the block. Okay, they'll cross that street, which I'm not at. But a few minutes later, I have fire trucks coming. I have a fire engine, fire chief, and I'm closing the street so they can get by. They walk down one block. The next fire truck a minute later comes down and goes this way. And finally get out. Where's the accident? What? Someone called and reported an accident involving injury. Like, they got hit by a car. I'm like, huh? And they're like, okay. They didn't put the signs, the road signs, when they did the traffic light. They did not put the intersection road signs back. Still, is it possible someone called in the wrong address? Is it possible it's a prank and they're calling dispatch? They got a cop going this way. They're trying to figure out where the accident is. I even told a couple of people walking by. I said, if you see an accident anywhere, call fire. Okay. A guy that I had saved from being sideswiped on his bicycle. He has one of those little bicycles with an engine in it, like the old school motorcycle 100 years ago. I see him driving down. He's like, road's closed. I said, no, you can go around it, but if you see an accident, call fire. I said, if anybody sees an accident or sees an injured person, call fire. Please, we're trying to find a victim. A few minutes later, I see a woman come up on the corner where the guy had walked up with his friend. So you see me with a car? And I'm like, well, we're trying to figure that out now. I said, I don't know if it was a wrong address, if it was a prank call. It wasn't a prank with my brother. He got hit by a car on his front end of the hospital. What happened was the man that I saw being carried away, he must have been down the block and must have been hit by a car somewhere. And his friend was carrying him to the hospital. And then they must have took the guy right away into the doctor because within 45 minutes they were back already. And if you've ever sat in an emergency room, you know that's a fucking miracle. So let's go over a few things here. You can hear the clock in the background. Bring it along. Let's go over a few things. If you were involved in a car accident that does not involve injury, simply exchange insurance information and let the insurance company take care of it. The police are not allowed to get involved in it legally. Okay? If you have a car accident that involves injury, it could be pedestrian getting hit by a car, it could be car bang bang and someone gets a fucking whiplash. If the accident involves injury, you have to roll down your window and ask, are you okay? Fuck you, you're an asshole. They're not okay, okay? You get on the phone, you call 911, you ask for an ambulance. If you are the person that committed the accident that involved the injury, you are required by law to wait for the ambulance. And then when the ambulance gets there, takes the person away, they will almost certainly ask you for your name, your address, your phone number, all that bullshit. You are required to give it to them. You can't say no. They will conduct an investigation to see who's right, who's wrong, who's this, who's that. That's why I always say, have both hands on the wheel, keep off the fucking phone, have your seatbelt on, observe the speed limit, and be conscious of pedestrians, bicycles, motorcycles, emergency. Be conscious of where you are, because God forbid you're involved in an accident, involved in injury, you not breaking the law will help you greatly. You breaking the law, speeding, distracted driving, phone, okay, that could result in car being towed, that could result in license being suspended, it could even result in actual criminal charge for you. Okay? So, but just make sure you obey the law. If there's an accident involving injury, you must report it. If you leave the scene without asking the person if they're okay, you can be criminally charged. Case in point, the youngest living Medal of Honor recipient, Kyle Carpenter, he made an illegal left turn, hit an 18-year-old guy in his car, but it was okay, left the scene. He, a Medal of Honor recipient, was being investigated for felony hit and run. And they pled it down to traffic violation. He paid a traffic ticket. Because after he hit the guy, he said the guy's okay. The guy drove away. The guy ended up not being okay. Went to a gym somewhere, a sports center, and said, "Call me an ambulance. I'm hurt." He got that treatment because he's a Medal of Honor recipient and because he was in a coma for jumping on top of a hand grenade. Okay, you leaving the scene, I will bet you money right now you will not get any special treatment. Okay, so you must call it in. Can you get in trouble? I don't know. What were you doing? But if you leave the scene, you will definitely get in trouble. It will start as a felony charge, and you'll need a very good lawyer to plead down to a misdemeanor, and you'll be paying fines. You'll be having license suspended. You'll be on probation. Okay, it's not gonna be fun for you. Now, a majority of the time that an accident happens, we professional people, police, fire, medical, okay, lifeguards, okay, they will tell you flat out, you're better off staying there, calling 911, and having the professional people move the person. I, myself, legally cannot touch you if you're hit by a car. If you're hit by a car on my watch, I have to, myself, legally call back up and say, okay, back up, the firemen, paramedics, they will move him, not you. Okay? And in this case, the guy got hit a block away. I didn't see it. His friend picked him up and walked him to the hospital. That's his problem, not mine. Okay? He did it on his own. He's an adult. He's a civilian. He can do that. I can't. Okay? But most professionals will tell you, leave the person there and let the professionals come and pick them up and move them, because you don't know if they got a bone fucked up. You don't know if they got a nerve fucked up. You don't know if there's head injury. The guy came back with a head bandage on, okay? So you don't have to have a fucking head injury, okay? Brain trauma, okay? Neck is very sensitive, okay? So they have to assess injury, neck braces, back braces, stretchers, okay? So you're better off not. I'm going to tell you, try as hard as you can not to move them, okay? That's my recommendation. Now, if you do move them for whatever reason, maybe you just say, you know what, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. It'll take an hour to get the ambulance here. Get in the car with me and I'll drive you to the hospital. Do you know the person? And that's the issue. But you're allowed to leave the scene if you are going to the hospital with the victim in tow. Legally, they'll tell you privately you shouldn't have done it. You should wait for the ambulance to get there. But from a legal standpoint, they can't charge you criminally if you put the person in your car and leave the scene with them, bring them to the hospital. They can't charge you criminally for that. I don't recommend it, but if you do it, you do it, okay? Like this guy did. This guy picked up his friend, carried his friend to the hospital. I would have told him, stay there, I'll get the ambulance here in a minute, no problem, but they did that on their own. They didn't talk to me. They just walked by. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know if they were sick, if he was drunk. I didn't know. I mean, it happens. I have adults go to the bar, get shit-faced drunk, come back from the bar, their friends taking them home, or their friends taking them to the hospital. Okay. That's it. You're an adult. You can do the fuck you want. So I did not know anything until, okay. But here's what I want to tell you. If you do decide to leave the scene with the victim, please, pretty please, with sugar on top, tell dispatch you're taking the victim to the hospital yourself, because if you call dispatch and tell dispatch there was an accident, I am taking the victim to the hospital myself. And it doesn't have to be a car accident. It could be a fall. It could be a severed thumb. It could be, a power tool accident. It could be a gun accident, okay? If you call dispatch, please tell dispatch I am taking the victim to the hospital myself. That way, dispatch will send a police officer to the hospital to meet you there and discuss what happened. Drunk driver, hit and run, fell, gun off, what the fuck happened, okay? they'll figure it out from there. Okay, but if you just leave the scene without telling anybody, they're gonna send fire, police trucks to the scene, and you're not there, and they're gonna spend every bit of a half hour looking for you. Okay, if that woman didn't come by and tell the paramedics and myself that was my brother, and then as soon as she said my brother, when she said that was my brother, I flagged down the ambulance and I said, that woman told me her brother was hit, his friend took him to the hospital. She told us too. Okay, cool. Thanks, bud. Okay, cool. But until someone tells them that was my friend, that was my brother, they're in the hospital already, they will literally be combing the place, the neighborhood, for injured people. And that will take up time and resources, okay? In addition to that, if they don't find injured people, they'll start a criminal investigation for a prank call. So they'll get the 911 records and they'll trace the call and they'll see who was fucking pranking 911. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, if call 911 and say, listen, my friend had an accident at this location at this time. I took him to the hospital myself. He's in the hospital. Okay, do not send anyone there. Send them to the hospital to meet my friend. Okay, that's it. Now, if you see, because it might have been called in by a third party. It might have been called in, the guy might have picked his friend up, took him to the hospital, and it might have been called in by somebody else walking around the block or someone in the store or something like that. Okay, it happened out of my sight. I didn't see it. That person might have gotten the phone and said, hey, I got hit by a car at this location, and hung up. Okay, if you are the person that's reporting the accident, say, listen, there was an accident, this happened, the guy left the scene with his friend to go to the hospital on his own. The hospital is, in this case, up the block. They're probably there, okay? And they may send one cop to the location to just double check for you, make sure, okay, they left a minute ago, they went that way, okay, cool. And they'll send the other cop to the hospital to meet the person. Now, if something happens where you fear for your life, you run someone over, maybe they ran in front of your car and you jam the brake, hit them anyway, and they pull out a fucking knife and say, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker, you can leave. Okay? If you feel that someone is going to hurt you physically, and I was talking to a guy who works at our range, he's a range instructor, he's the guy that let me fire his Kimber 1911 many years ago, okay? Well, many years ago, he was a principal in New York City, and Jay-Z was one of his students. Now, many years ago, like I'm talking about the 60s, the 70s, in New York City, they told truck drivers, white truck drivers, this is not politically correct, by the way, they told white truck drivers, if you're driving a truck in a black neighborhood and you hit a black person, don't stop. Keep going. That was many years ago in New York City when there was a lot of racial tension going on. And, okay, but if you feel you're in danger, then you can leave. However, when you leave, you must pick up the phone, dial 911, and say, listen, I was in my car, I hit someone. I got out of the car to see if they were okay, and they pulled out a fucking knife on me. Or, I was driving through a neighborhood, I hit someone, I get out of the car to see if they were okay, and there were 20 guys running on the block with baseball bats. Okay? I'll come to the police station, we'll talk about it or some shit, okay? But, accident involving injury, don't leave until the person is evacuated by ambulance. Accident involving injury, where the person is taken to the hospital by yourself or a civilian, another civilian, call dispatch and tell dispatch the victim is on the way to the hospital on their own. And that's where to meet them. Accident involving injury, where you fear for your life because someone's gonna fucking kill you because they're mad you hit their friend. Flee the scene, call police, tell the police what happened, go to the police station and sort it out there. Okay? Clean? Thank you.